Hello everybody, Gbenga Olatunji here. So we continue in organizational cultural web, the 6 elements, and we had spoken about the routine and the rituals. We've spoken about the stories and the myths. So we go straight away into the symbols. Symbols within organization is one of the vital components of organizational culture, and majority of organization we have symbols, especially in this jet age that we'll talk about branding, rebranding, and the like. Symbols are means of communicating to the world without speaking. It symbolizes presence of an organization. So let's take for example, Toyota does not need to be here. By virtue of that symbol that we can see on the car, we know that this brand of vehicle was made by Toyota or Honda, Lamborghini, okay, lovers of cars. So those are symbols, and somehow immediately we continue to see those symbols. After a long while we get used to it. We just know this is the organization. This is the organization that uses this symbol, and we are already caught in the cultural web of that organization. It's representative of the nature of the organization. And when we look at some organization symbol, it denotes and depicts the mindset of the organization, how sophisticated they are. We can see some logos, they are so simple, some symbols so simple and so genuine. We see some so cumbersome, we see some so pronounced, and we see some so sublime. All these factors actually are telling us about the organization. We may take it for granted, but the truth of the matter is that is what the organization really is. And if we follow through it, we will see that that symbol actually communicates and represents them very well, because every organization is mindful and thoughtful when they are branding. Another component in the 6 elements of cultural and organizational web is power structure. And please, it's important that we distinguish now between power structure and organizational structure. So when we want to talk about power, maybe we need to go to philosophy 101. Power is the ability to produce results. Basically, layman language, my layman language. Power is the ability to produce results. So when we're talking about power structure within an organization, we must not overlook the personality of employers and employees. So power could be in form of influence, and it could be in form of ability and capability residing in the person and individuals to produce results. So when we have people that demonstrate power, that is, have capability and ability to produce results, it has a way of speaking and contributing into the cultural web. We just know, people just know that if you want to get results about this, you need to go to so and so. So eventually the power structure can contribute into routine and ritual. Written, maybe written down or not even written down. just forms part of the process because there is a power structure. So this may be deliberate, this may not be deliberate, but over time the history, the story depicts it and symbolizes it that there is a power here. That is the ability to produce results. So if you want results, you need to follow through with so and so. So, and this is going to influence the organization. Whether that person, that individual is in position or not, whether rightful delegation of power is given to him or her, but if power and capability is residing in him or her, then culture is being formed. Culture, organizational wise, is being shaped. Then we'll talk about the deliberate aspects of structure or structuring organization. We call it organizational structure. Some will say organogram. Whatsoever name we give to it, this is an intentional, hierarchical, or bureaucratic way of depicting how process or power and things should be done. So, organizational structure, the laid down hierarchy of people, just to manage people and let everybody know the process of communication and process of carrying things out, who to see before you can see the next stage of authority within an organization. So this is deliberate also on the part of the organization. And when we have organizational structure, it contributes to the organizational culture and the building up of the organizational cultural web. Last but not the least, we'll be talking about control systems. Control systems. That is, we are talking about monitoring, ensuring that everybody performs his or her duty. So we are talking about performance measurement here now when we are talking about control system within an organization. So it's a system of performance measurement, it's a system of reward within an organization, deliberately and consciously established by the management of the organization to ensure that supervision exists, monitoring exists, and that the organization will genuinely get value for the money spent on individuals, on projects, and the like. So, control system equally is last but not the least of the cultural context and the web formation within every organization. So let us summarize in three levels the context of organizational culture and ethics, how they relate, and the levels at which they operate from. Like you can see, I want to believe, can we see this? My diagram that I just try to depict it using what we call concentric pattern. We have the outer layer or outer level of cultural or corporate organizational culture. Then we have the inner, then we have the heart or the matter of culture and ethics in every organization. So the outer is a bit of fair weather. It is symbolic. majority of the time we can see it. So like we talk about symbol as part of organizational cultural web as a component. So at this point, outer layer of culture within an organization, symbol as a major playing field. So symbol, we can see symbol and know the organization it represents, the brand it speaks for. At the outer layer too, we'll be talking about the vision, the mission statement that are written down. So the outer layer of organizational culture, we can easily relate with it. We can see it. It's more evidential. It's loud. We could observe it. Vision, mission statement, and like for everybody to see. So this is an aspect of organizational culture that is outer. Don't forget it's outer. So it relates directly with everybody. So now we go into the inner. So it's in 3 levels. The first level is outer. It communicates directly more or less to the public. Everybody knows about it. Everybody can read it on the pages of newspaper and the like. Inner layers. Basically, these are the things, are the values, the worldviews of the organizations and the management of organizations, what they believe that the organization actually stands for. In corporate governance, we call it organizational stance. What do they stand for? What do they stand for? Do they stand for this particular thing? For example, they can have a policy that they are not going to transact with so and so vendor, and they are going to transact with so and so vendor for reasons, for beliefs best known to them. So, but majority outside we don't know, but in the inner formation of their culture is known. So here, the employees will know, at least people that are working at that level will know, because at this point, may be written, may not be written, but we know this is what our organization stand for. So that is inner. Then the heart of the matter, the real heart of the matter of culture. Don't forget, we talk about story, we talk about the needs of the organization, the power structure and the like, the control system and the like. So meat, stories and the like contributes here, and really what we cannot see, majority of the time we control what we can see. The software controls the hardware, and if there is no software, the hardware, the computer we carry about our phones, our gadgets cannot work without being programmed. So many times the heart cannot be seen, but is so functional and important to the functionality and the usefulness of the component or of the entity. Likewise, at the heart of corporate organizational culture, beliefs, system, and the like are unwritten codes. We can call it paradigm. Here is a paradigm, and it hardly could be influenced because basically they are hardly written down, but the employees know that here, this is how we do things, this is how we run our show here. So that is paradigm. And if we are to conclude, between the 3 levels of organizational culture, it is easy or easier to change the outer layer, the symbolic and the like representation of the organization. We could easily adjust it, we could easily amend it, and make sure that it communicates more profoundly what we intended to the society. But the heart of the matter hardly could be adjusted. The inner part, the heart of corporate organizations hardly can be tampered with. It is the core. They are hardly written down. They are not written down. They are paradigm. We just know that here, this is how things get done. For organizations now that are basically maybe in one or two locations or in one or two countries, contextually, their culture can be a bit fixed and determined. But for multinationals, global companies that are in different parts of the world or all over the world, it is difficult for a global organization, a global entity to have a singular corporate culture code, because they are going into different cultures too, and environment too will contribute into the formation of their outlook, and directly will equally influence the organization. They are going to interact with people. That is, if a foreign organization going into another foreign land, the culture of the people too will affect the foreign culture that they are coming in with. So at the end of the day, the organization's management at least must meet like at the middle point. So they cannot be too rigid. So it becomes a bit of flexible corporate culture. Nevertheless, they're still going to build the levels of web, and they're still going to have their stance, that is what they actually stand for as organization. They are still going to have processes in place in form of routines, in form of rituals. They are going to have their way in which it may not be written down, and it forms the paradigm, and it's not easy to shift paradigm. They are going to have some symbols. They are going to have history along the line. There may be myth too, those that they are unfounded. Nevertheless, they are part of the organization's corporate culture. Power structure within an organization will definitely exist in every organization, and effective management of organization must have corporate organizational structure, which we usually call majority of the time organogram. So last but not the least, an organization must have performance management, measurement, and control system for value delivery, for value for money, and to make the organization stand for longer time. Because if the organization is not profitable at the end of the day, they may not be able to withstand the test of time. And if this is not achieved, longevity is in doubt. The organization is culture, is worldview, and the like at the end of the day may not stand for longer time. So we've dealt with the context of ethics and morality and how it interrelates with culture generally, and how ethics, morality becomes cultural web, and how 6 elements can be woven together consciously by organization, and it becomes the organizational cultural web in which consciously and unconsciously people and especially employees begin to work in it and they find themselves caught up in organizational web. Many times organizational web could make us to become a better person, but at the end of the day too, it generally will influence us to be better or otherwise, because it's basically based on the worldview or the management and of the founder of the organization. From GJAMES Associates, Gbenga Olatunji is your corporate governance, management and ethics lecturer. Don't forget to like us. GJAMES Associates, we are value to life, value to your business. Like and subscribe to us so that you can receive notification next time we release a new video, which definitely we are going to do.